One here almost dead, the other one's a little sick, but we all here today. Shout out to Dayquil. Shout out to what? I don't know, Farmers Insurance.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, we all here today. You want to update on your situation before we get into it?
Just watch out riding in the rain. So I didn't, and came up, see the brakes went up and locked up and went under this truck. So it was like a tow truck, and then just destroyed like most of the hood and some of my bumper and whatnot. Another 4 feet, it would have been Final Destination, and that would have been a wrap. You know,
it's been an RIP episode.
RIP episode. Oh man.
So, like I said, we all here today. But yo, man, like basically when we ended the show yesterday, I was getting rumblings as soon as I hopped out the air. I was looking on, I was getting updates and stuff on my phone, and I was hearing about a Kyrie Irving trade to Boston. And by the time I got home, which was like an hour later, before I got home, I was like almost home on the bus, and I had been told basically that he'd been traded to Boston for Isaiah Thomas, Joey Crawford, and a first-round pick in next year's draft from the Nets, which will probably be like a top 3 pick. So unless the Nets do something I don't believe they will do in the next season. That's a huge trade. First thing, it's a trade between the top 2 teams in the East last year. That's something that's like, this is almost the equivalent of the Boston Red Sox trading Babe Ruth to the Yankees, which people forget happened.
Yeah. That's a pretty big deal right there.
It's a huge deal. First thing, you could tell now that the Cavaliers are fully set up for the life without LeBron stage. Does this change the landscape of what it is for if Cleveland goes to the finals again next year? Like what? Like a lot of things change now.
Cleveland, they can still get it. I mean, well, depends. Have they brought anybody? Like, are we talking like there's enough rookies up in, you know?
They don't have any rookies on their team. I'd be shocked if the Cavaliers have any rookies on their team. Start like in the rotation. Oh, I also think Amon Shumpert got traded to the Celtics in this trade. That isn't a big deal if they got Joey Crawford and Isaiah Thomas back. Again, it's Isaiah Thomas was the best player on the Celtics. Is he better than Kyrie Irving? No. I think Joey Crawford helps a lot. And again, the first-round pick is probably the biggest deal in this because they're trying to make sure they have something to go off of next year, even though I have no clue about any of the kids coming out next year and who will be good. And again, I'm completely convinced that that LeBron James will not be on the Cavaliers next year.
LA?
That's my hope, but a lot of people say that's not happening, but that's my hope.
Where else would he go?
I'm hearing rumors of New York.
New York.
Next. Nobody's going to the Brooklyn Nets, James. Your Brooklyn Nets dream is not happening anytime soon. The Brooklyn Nets have screwed them. Paul Pierce and Kevin Garnett and Joe Johnson and Darren Williams robbed the Brooklyn Nets, and it's going to hurt them for years to come. Actually, I take that back. Joe Johnson did not rob the Brooklyn Nets. Joe Johnson actually has been a consistent player the entire time. He just doesn't talk, so nobody talks about him. But Darren Williams, Paul Pierce, and Kevin Garnett robbed the Brooklyn Nets. Full face value, like just in the full face. The only people that gave the Brooklyn Nets any value out of anything that happened back then was Joe Johnson and Brook Lopez. People underestimate Brook Lopez severely. But yeah, man, like I said, this trade's huge. The Kyrie thing. Shout out to Brick. I've been talking to Brick and his opinion and all this, and you know he's happy because he basically thinks this is the downfall of LeBron. Like I said, he's out enjoying himself in Hawaii. I'm gonna try to figure out a way to get his voice at least on the show for the radio side tomorrow. See if we can do something about that. But no, like I said, this is a big deal. This is probably one. Like I said, we thought the Paul George trade was big, just in the idea because Oklahoma City tried. But we don't believe that Oklahoma City is good enough to do anything, even at adding Paul George with Russell Westbrook. Do you believe like that's not a big thing?
Something that makes it a little more threat.
Yeah, but it's the Western Conference. Like you still have the Warriors, Houston, San Antonio a little bit. I don't really give a damn about the Clippers no more. I think the Clippers are done. There's an up and coming. I think the Pelicans are in the West. The up and coming Pelicans with Boogie Cousins and the Unibrow. Portland's still there. Like there's a lot of teams. The only team I think is really done in the West is Utah because they lost Gordon Hayward. Everybody else out in the West seems to be perfectly fine. And I think Phoenix is coming up, and the Lakers are going to be coming back soon. Maybe. I just want to be confident about the Lakers.
They have a young team. They're looking pretty good. So
Like
if LeBron went there, that would be so. At that point, if he's getting up there, I mean, like he could probably turn that team around.
Oh no, if LeBron goes to the Lakers automatically become a contender. I don't care what name this is, but that's way down the road speculation.
Yeah.
But right now in the East, like I said, the Cavaliers were the favorite before this trade. Does this change? Like this is the teams I consider threats in the East. Still, the Cavaliers, like no matter what, you got LeBron James as a threat. Boston's still a threat. I believe in Miami as long as they got Pat Riley. As long as Pat Riley's there, I believe in them. The Wizards are a good team, a very solid, good team. I actually believe in the Wizards a lot. And I don't believe in Toronto, but they're always there. And the same thing with the Hawks. I don't believe in the Toronto or the Hawks, but they're always there. They always seem to be able to find a way. Shit. What conference? I got to check what conference the Timberwolves are. It's always confusing to me between Milwaukee and Memphis on all those teams. I know Memphis is in the West, I think. So I think the Timberwolves are in the East. I got to check that.
I thought the Timbs were on the East. I thought they were.
Yeah, and the Timberwolves are up and coming too.
Yeah, that's what I'd like to see.
So, like I said, there's a lot of teams. But like I said, I don't know who's going to be the favorite now. Is it still the Cavaliers? No matter what, we got to check that out. But one more thing that happened yesterday that I actually think, at least in the realm of fairness, is a bigger deal than happened yesterday. John Bones Jones. Sorry, it's a tongue twister to me. But Bones Jones failed his UFC 214 drug test for his title fight against Daniel Cromer. The big deal about that is he knocked out Daniel Cromer, gave him a concussion. There was a crying on TV thing that happened, and now it's all voided. It's a fraud to me. For y'all who paid y'all money to watch this, and even if you didn't pay your money, people who wasted y'all time to watch this now, because what do you get out of this? I actually think now UFC is actually going to be coming to the point of a fraud as boxing became. Whereas now it's just like, what are we watching this for? What are you paying for? Every time there's a title fight, are we sure, is this going to be real? Are we sure this is a fair fight?
Yeah.
This is the second time Jones has failed a drug test. Actually, personally, I'm going to say flat out, I think he should probably be banned from UFC at this point if you want to prove your point about this drug stuff. But
that would be a pretty good idea. No, you ruined the whole game. Unless if it was allowed, unless you allowed, different things, that's fine. But do anything to enhance. I think it was steroids you got, right? Yeah.
PEDs, yeah.
Yeah. So I mean,
there's only one sport where I think there should be steroids allowed, and that's baseball.
That's it. I think that would be fine. Come on, more home runs. Have this score up. I mean, that's just me, but.
Well, no, because pitchers could use it too.
Yeah,
I think we get
everyone gets to use it. Nobody's not allowed to use it.
I am fully for steroids in baseball. That's a whole separate conversation we will have one day. We gotta start when I trail off like this, we're gonna have to have little notes about things that I believe in when I say this. But I truly believe that it is fair to have steroids in baseball. Back over to what we're talking about with PEDs and fighting. I don't know. No, there's no because you could kill somebody. If somebody dies one day in a boxing or in a UFC match that's on TV, and then we find out days after that the person that killed the guy was on PEDs, what happens? So, yeah, what happens? Thank you. Because then somebody goes to jail, and then we have a big conspiracy, and then you might lose a company. That's something honestly, God, that'll destroy an entire company. I guess in boxing it's different because boxers don't have a direct boss, but in UFC that would destroy it. Dana White's company would be gone. So, like I said, people got to think about that type of stuff.
Now, what about betting? Do you think that's going to be affected, in the Vegas side?
No, because people got their money already. I mean, I don't know, man. You might be able to sue. Maybe. I'm not in the boxing betting
let's say you drop
UFC
a lot
betting
of money
like that.
up in that, and then it's
if you lost money, I guess you would have a beef. I don't know. Malachi's shaking his head.
No, I lost it.
All right. I mean, I don't know if y'all heard that, but Malachi says you know what you got into. So I guess that's true. I guess. I don't know because I'm not. I told you. I told y'all yesterday how I felt about gambling and what my gambling steez is. So I'm never in the position to be gambling on something this big. So because and again, you're right, because you know what you get into. There's a chance that this is a fraud affair.
Yeah.
Like, to me, there's not much of a difference between betting on UFC and betting on a match in WrestleMania, which I think you'd be really stupid to do too. But like, I was telling James or somebody yesterday that I don't see the point in paying in a pay-per-view of any sort. Like, I don't see the point in paying for boxing pay-per-views or UFC pay-per-views. The only type of pay-per-views I believe you should pay for, if you're into it, because I'm not into it, but if you're truly into it, because you know you're going to get 4 hours of like actual show and dialogue and the shit that you're into, will be fake wrestling, WWE. If you're like, if you were into that, paying for a WWE pay-per-view makes sense because you know you're going to get everything you're into. But if you pay for a fucking UFC or boxing pay-per-view because it's real, there's a chance you paid $100 to watch them get knocked out in 30 seconds. Remember all that shit about Ronda Rousey when she was making people tap in like a minute and a half? Why would you want? I don't see the point in paying for something like that.
No, I wouldn't know.
So that's how I feel about this. Like I said, I couldn't pay for WrestleMania or whatever that stuff, or like whatever they do in WWE, SummerSlam, stuff like that. But if you're into it, it's worth it because you're gonna get 4 hours of actually a show. That's why it's called entertainment. But that's the only thing I can picture doing that for. Like, what else did they make people pay for when it comes to like pay-per-views? You don't pay for football. You don't pay for any of our normal sports to watch it. You could even watch this like soccer in Europe and America, and it's still not. You don't got to pay for it. You literally got to pay for fighting. It's like the sport that you got to pay to watch. But yeah, just think about that. Like I said, if I was people, I would boycott paying for this shit at this point altogether. But again, this is the beginning of the Unfiltered. We are here today. We're going to be right back and kick it with y'all music a little bit. This was the beginning of the show. But we'll get more in depth with both Bones Jones and the trade with Kyrie tomorrow. But like I said, we're going to get into the rap jury real soon. We'll be right back. 21 Savage, Izza, and or Izza. We'll figure it out. I'll be fucking that up all the time. And Dizzy Wright, the Golden Age, too. And we'll get y'all updated what the next reviews for next week will be. We'll be right back on Unfiltered.